Well, yesterday was not the going home from the hospital that I envisioned. She's not here right now because she is off getting a GI x-ray done. But my sweet Addie girl was literally brought back to the ER at midnight, physically unable to keep any of her feedings down. Whether it was like spit up or progressively just projectile vomiting every single time, whether she was upright or laying down or burped, not burped. So we're back in the hospital. And this is not how I thought my first fresh week of new parenthood was gonna go. Riley does not get to be with her little sister right now. We're not all together as a family because I'll be mostly here, rotating in and out with Eric, but probably mostly me. It's not how I envisioned things. I will keep everyone updated. She's fitting up.
Yeah, I know. I said we got some vomiting or spit up or something. Does it feel better or no? I know you had that nasty contrast stuff, I know.
So what do you do? Regular feeding, it makes all the difference. Scott's wheat feed, the product is
Such a hot dad. Looking all sexy, holding that beautiful baby we made. He's just doing his sexy dance, it's fine. Hello. It is Saturday, May 10th. We're finally home from the hospital. It's been a whirlwind of, I guess, a week. Technically not even a week because she was born on the 4th. So it's been a whirlwind 6 days. But we're finally home. And I'm in a position now where I feel like I can actually kind of talk about the events and everything that led up to us winding up back admitted into the hospital. Not even a full 24 hours after having been released the first time from the mother-baby unit. So let's go ahead and unpack and talk about it. So yeah, here we go. I had to confer with my husband real fast over some details. He was a bit more level-headed during most of this than I was. I will be honest. So honestly, a lot of what led up to us getting readmitted to the hospital in the peds unit started during our stay in mother-baby. I had been given the okay to push with Addison at 11:58 p.m. on Saturday, the 3rd of May. And by Sunday, May 4th at 12:22 a.m., that is when she was born. So the initial thought was that as she was coming out of me or passing through my birth canal or whatever, she had swallowed a bunch of amniotic fluid. And so when we were in recovery in mother-baby in the postpartum unit, she had been there spitting up a bunch, projectile vomiting some of that spit up, and it was very thick, very phlegmy. The nurses could see what looked like amniotic fluid just based on the texture. So they weren't concerned about the spit up and the some of the vomiting. They just said that that'll happen from time to time. She just needs time to clear it all out. And I was like, well, okay, fine, but what happens if it keeps going on? And they're like, oh no, it won't. It'll by day 2 or day that you're getting released, you should be fine. I said, oh, okay. Well, the day comes that we're supposed to be getting released, and I think it's either the evening prior or that day, we had been given some formula to try supplementing with my breast milk, because at the time my breast milk really wasn't coming in yet, and I was concerned that Addie was going to lose more than 10% of her body weight, because at the time she was already down 8.7% from her birth weight, which was 7 pounds 5 ounces. And so I asked if we could have some formula to supplement in between me trying to breastfeed, and they said sure. So we started supplementing with some formula, not a lot. They told us like half an ounce to an ounce, in conjunction with whatever she was getting from my breast. And of course, I wasn't getting a lot out of my breast. Like, my milk hadn't really come in yet. So I feel like, I don't know, that was bad information, part 1. Would you agree? That stoic nod means he agrees. Because obviously then she's not taking enough and she's not getting enough. Concerning factor number 2, while we're still at mother baby, she really wasn't having a whole lot of like poopy or pee-filled diapers. And they don't necessarily expect them to. What we've been told is like at least one of each for each day of life. So day 1, they want to see 1 pee, 1 poop. Day 2, they want to see like at least 2, but if you get 1, they're not overly concerned. And she had hit some of those milestones, but also at the same time, like, not like it would be very, 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 very stretched out in between a poop, or very, 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 very stretched out in between like a pee if she peed. And obviously, given that I was trying to breastfeed every time she stirred, every time she fussed, you would think that there would be more of those kinds of diapers, and there wasn't. So that was kind of another concerning factor, but I digress. We drive on. May 6th rolls around, and that's the day we're getting discharged. She's still projectile vomiting up the formula, and or just spitting up whatever she tries to get off my breast. Still kind of not really pooping and peeing a whole bunch. But they give her a clean bill of health, and they discharge us, and they send us on our merry way back home. We get home from the hospital, and I still notice that she's kind of as lethargic as she had been in the hospital. We'd have to really like strip her down to get her to try to feed, even if it was from just the bottle of the formula that we were given. And she was still spitting that up, and it was becoming a lot more frequent that she was spitting it up and a lot more forceful. And so by this point, we also haven't even noticed very many, like, again, poop or pee diapers. I think we had 1 or 2 good ones, and that was probably like around, I don't know, 6:30, maybe 7 p.m. on the 6th. And the only reason why I would say they were good is because she ended up pooping and peeing basically on my husband.
She pooped on me.
And peed.
And peed on me.
Twice.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But that was it. Like, and again, that had been like, again, like a 3-4 hour stretch of just nothing. So again, that's concerning. Also, her coloration was off. Like, she was very just, I don't know, like, dark circles under her eyes, very red or, like, even yellowy. Like, just, something was not right. And eventually we make the decision probably around midnight. So now it's Wednesday, the 7th of May, that we absolutely need to go back and take her back to the ER, because just something was very wrong. Like, still projectile vomiting, not spitting up, not keeping anything down, like, very raspy, weak sounding cry, very, 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 very lethargic. You can't wait. You have to wake her to feed. She doesn't stay awake to feed. So we make the decision to go to the ER. Eric stays behind so that when our oldest, Riley, if she wakes, she wouldn't be startled or frightened by having absolutely nobody from the family home and having, like, my in-laws or my parents here in place of one of us. Eric's mom comes over. She and I drive to CDH's ER, where we're seen, I wouldn't say almost immediately, but, like, compared to how many people were in the waiting room when I got there, we were admitted back past triage pretty quickly, where they then begin just, like, a complete, just utter, like, workup on her. They did, like, ultrasounds of her stomach, where they had her drink, like, a glucose water type thing from Similac, and she ended up puking that up too. They, like, needed to draw blood, and they couldn't find veins to draw blood from because she was so dehydrated that when they would try to stick her with a pediatric or, like, an infant needle, the veins would blow. So they ended up having to go in with, like, literally into her thigh or, like, her groin area with, like, I don't know, a massive plunger type needle, and collect blood directly from, I think, the artery or something that way. Because I know a doctor came rolling up in with another, like, ultrasound or sonography machine, literally to find where the veins or the arteries were in her groin, and use that picture to then guide the needle in to get blood, to be able to, like, run cultures and do everything. By this point, they put an IV in her scalp, because, again, you can't get anywhere else on her body. They've got her hooked up to saline, so just, like, regular IV, and then also they start hooking her up to, like, a glucose or sugar solution in her IV, because her glucose comes back at, like, sub 60, which was concerning because of all of the glucose water she'd had to drink for her stomach ultrasound. They would have expected it to have been higher, and it wasn't. So we had a very, very dehydrated, very sick baby at this point on our hands. And granted, every time they were like, "Oh, how old is she?" I literally look at them and I'm like, 3 days old. I literally just got released from Mother Baby not even 24 hours ago. I'm beside myself in the ER, like, sobbing, very just emotional. Nobody likes to see their kid sick. More importantly, nobody likes to see their newborn being poked, prodded, and, like, pricked, and blood being taken, and, you know, all these things happening. Eventually my mother-in-law and I get led out of the triage, the room that we're in, because they had to go do a lumbar puncture on her back to test her spinal fluid, because they wanted to make sure that somehow my newborn didn't contract meningitis, which I wouldn't know how she would have contracted meningitis anyway, considering the only place we were was the hospital and home, but I digress. And then I kind of start overhearing the doctor that was tending to her in the ER on the phone with peds, basically stressing that we don't know what's going on. It sounds like this mother was given really just not good advice from Mother Baby unit when she was addressing her concerns. Never should have been released. Like, something is not right, and I don't know what it is. And at this point, she doesn't know what it is, because she's, you know, all the information she's relayed to me states that it could be a number of things. And so we get an immediate admit up to the pediatric unit. By this point, they couldn't perform the lumbar puncture because she was still so dehydrated that there was no spinal fluid for them to tap. Or at least it wasn't moving freely enough to be able to tap it because it just, again, utter dehydration. So by about 7 a.m. is when we're getting admitted from the ER into peds. And that is where we were from the 7th through the 9th. And the entire time we were there, she had IV antibiotics going. She had massive bags of saline that were like mixed with potassium and like the dextrose with the glucose, basically like a sugar and electrolyte blend because of how dehydrated she had been. She was still spitting up. So they started her on like IV Pepsid, which is like an anti-reflux medication, because eventually it gets determined that she has GERD or acid reflux. And then upon further investigation, they think the reason why she's got this acid reflux issue is because she actually has a cow's milk protein intolerance. So I don't know. That means it's been a lot. Ultimately, because I breastfeed and occasionally supplement with formula just to help top her off, I get to go dairy free, and I'm happy to do it if it means she's healthy. And we're home after all of this. All her cultures came back negative for any kind of infections or illness. And ultimately, she's healthy. We've been home now a full 24 hours, and she really hasn't projectile vomited. I mean, she does the occasional spit up, but it's not the way that it was when we were being admitted. And we can actually now enjoy and soak in the newborn phase and have time with Riley and everyone together. And I guess just in time for Mother's Day. So that's great. I am extremely thankful for the ER staff at the hospital, and very, very, very thankful for the pediatric staff at the hospital. Everyone was so great. They were so professional, so kind, just very compassionate. And I'm just thankful that we're all home, happy and healthy, and that Addie is with us, and that it wasn't anything more severe. I'm happy that we listened to both of our gut instincts, and you made the decision to take her back to the ER, because honestly, I don't know what I would have done if I waited. This could be a very different life update if I had, I feel like. So that's it. It's just I felt like I should explain what happened and then pose the question to any of you guys. Has something similar happened? Have you had an experience like this where you got, where you just feel like you weren't being listened to by the doctors, or, you were advocating, but you felt like nothing was getting through? Let me know in the comments, I guess. If you've made it to the end of this video and the explanation as to what happened, great. But thanks so much for watching. And I hope you come back to see us real soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night, guys.
Love you.
We love you.
That's my thing.
Okay, well, now it's our thing. Bye, guys.